Hi lovelies! In today's video, we're going to share with you how we were able to save our emergency fund within 5 months during this time of the pandemic when we are just in one income family. That means that my husband is the only one working because for most part, I have to stay home to take care of my kids. My name is Geraldine B. I am happily married with 3 beautiful children ages 7 and below. I am passionate about raising my family in a healthy, simple, efficient, non-complicated way, being mindful of our financial goal. And if that's something that interests you, feel free to join this community and together we will learn from each other. So what is an emergency fund? So this is a money that we set aside for emergency. Emergency, that means, as the name implies, for like sudden loss of job, major house repair or major car repair, or if you're in part of the world like the Philippines where healthcare is not covered by the government, then if there's like health issues or emergency that would occur, then you have money set aside for that. And this is very important to realize that this is for emergency. This is not for like we need to buy a bigger TV or we need to buy a newer car, if you get what I mean. This is only for emergency. And this is also very important to take in mind that we need to set this aside in a bank. If you could have like higher interest savings account, like what we do with our emergency fund, then it's good to put it in there. And it is very important to bear in mind that this should remain liquid. That means that we shouldn't invest this money because whenever we need this, we can just pull this out immediately from that account. You might ask, how much should I save? So according to the expert, it's around 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly expenses. So for example, if your monthly expenses will cost you like 5,000, then your emergency fund will range between $15,000 to $30,000. And well, it's up to you. It could vary from one person or one family to another, but wherever you're comfortable at, the important part or the important take home is that we need to have an emergency fund. And some people will say, I don't need an emergency fund because my work is so stable for whatever reason. But you know what? We could pray, we could hope for, we could be as careful as we can be. But life's reality is emergency could happen whether we like it or not. So that's why we need to have that money readily available whenever we need it. Now, real talk, how are we able to save our emergency fund within 5 months, even during this time of the pandemic? Well, we're very grateful that my husband is still working even during this tough time. I mean, their company is still on the go. Although during the earlier part of the pandemic in March, he stayed home for a little while, but he still get paid for that. But eventually he is still working. And the first thing that we did really was paid off our debt. So that's from credit card debts, line of credits, because we know that if we have into the habit of just paying the interest or the minimum amount, then we could not really build wealth or save money for that. So we became intentional of paying all this debt. And I talk about minimalism. I didn't buy anything. I save as much as I can in my groceries and other bills. I have to pull out my daughter from piano lesson. I have to cut some of my supports from our charities, and I have to say, like, I have to do this. I have to be intentional. I can always go back in supporting them because I need to have a stable financial aspect, like, and I owe it to my children. Like, my husband and I, we talk about this back then in like 2018, 2019. I wrote it in my journal. I have this financial goal, and what I wrote in there was like to pay our debt like 30% of it. And at the end of the year, I was like, wow, we did like 30 or 50% of our debt. And that happened in 2018 and then 2019. And I was like, after that, for the next year, we use our credit card again. And then the cycle keeps going, if you know what I mean. And the next year I would have that goal again to pay our debt 50% or more. So I have this YouTube guru, Dave Ramsey, the guy, if you want to follow him. He has used by God to really help me with my financial goal. There's like a snowball method within you really have to kill your debt, like smallest to biggest. It's like a snowball, and then you gather all your money and just to kill your debt. And that's what we did with my husband. Like, we can't live this way, like just paying the minimum of our credit cards, of our line of credit. So we paid our line of credits, we closed that. We paid our credit card, we closed that. So that's what we did. And then in July we paid our car, so we don't have debts except our house. We don't have car loans. And then the next step is we build our emergency fund. And you can you will notice the cash flow, because you don't have to pay for interest, you don't have whatever car loans. And we're not gonna do this again. Do not like baby your debt. You have to kill it. You need to like close it. They call it like you need to do surgery to cut your credit cards and everything. Well, there's some people who are collecting points with credit cards, and they're working well with them, but we've been there. Like, it encouraged us to spend more, to use our money more, because we are like after of the points. We have to spend $200 just to get that 2%, which is $2. So we just like, this is just not for us. So we just cut it. We have one credit card right now, which is from MasterCard to Visa, that would just give us 8%. And right now it's like 0. Sometimes we overpaid it. Like, sometimes it appears negative. We overpaid our credit card. So I'm not bragging this one. I'm just sharing this because I know in this generation of consumerism, again, we could be overwhelmed with buying stuff, and we could be like go crazy with their Boxing Day sale and whatever sale that they're gonna call it, just to entice us to buy. So secondly, my husband has been paid like weekly, like every Friday. There's a paycheck that would come into our account, and then every Friday I would check our online bank, and I will see how much money is coming in from my husband's salary, and that includes his allowance if he's working out of town. So what I do with that money is, number one, I set aside 10%, which is like our tithes. We as Christians, as follower of Christ, we honor him by giving our 10%. Secondly is we take our savings right away for our emergency fund. So whatever is left in our checking account, I would like, this is the amount of money that we're going to use for the whole week. And then the next week I do the same, because whenever you look at your checking account, you are like, oh, I got lots of money in here. Then I'll subconsciously would think, oh, I can afford to buy lots. But right now, this is the amount of money that I have to spend for the rest of this week. So that's what we did, and that really helps us save our emergency fund faster. Third is my husband brought food with him whenever he is working out of town. So whenever he is like 10 days out of Edmonton, out of the city to work, like they're staying in a hotel, so I would cook for him, prepare food for him, and then I would ask him to bring rice cooker so he could cook rice inside a hotel, which is crazy. But and then have those frozen foods so that he will not buy food for himself. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you have enjoyed this one, and I hope that you will be inspired that saving money is cool and we owe it to our children. So we'll see you again in the next video. I am so glad that you have joined me in today's episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye-bye.